Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego with another fantastic video for you from your K1 Visa Green Card channel. I give you all this free advice and it's going to save you a ton of money from immigration attorney fees, etc. But remember, I'm not an immigration attorney myself. I don't give you legal advice and I don't work for USCIS, but I've got 13 years experience processing green cards and K1 visas, including my beautiful wife, Karina from Venezuela, who is going to be applying for her 10-year green card next month. We could apply today if we wanted to. Today is April 2nd, 2026, but we're going to wait until May 5th. So it will give time for our tax return to clear with the IRS, because you got to file joint tax returns with your beneficiary. This video is about when you're going to lift the conditions, how to fill out the form I-751. How to fill out form I-751. But let's go over what the form is. I printed the most recent edition here from uscis.gov/forms. But let's go over what this form is, and then I will explain how to fill it out. This is the petition which is used by the conditional resident, the foreign national, who obtains status through marriage to a U.S. citizen. Okay? You married a U.S. citizen, and you are going to ask USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, to remove the conditions on your conditional residency. You have a 2-year conditional residency green card, which means it will expire. It doesn't get renewed. You must lift the conditions, and you're going to use this form, I-751. So, if you were granted conditional residency status through marriage to a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, you're going to use form I-751 to remove the conditions on the residence. You're going to file for the removal of these conditions. If you don't do it within 90 days before it expires, your 2-year green card, you will be notified of your imminent deportation through an immigration judge. And if you have any dependent children who acquired conditional residence status on the same day as you or within 90 days thereafter, you can include them on the form I-751. There's not 2 separate applications, okay? So you can include their names and their alien registration numbers of their children in Part 5 of this form I-751 in order to request that these conditions on their status be removed as well. Very good, right? One form, whole family. If you have any dependent children who did not acquire conditional residency status on the same day as you or within 90 days thereafter, or if the conditional resident parent, the foreign national, is deceased, then those dependent children must each file a separate I-Form 751 to have the conditions removed on their status. Very important that you do this correctly. You don't want to get deported, right? If you are still married, Miss Beneficiary, Mr. Beneficiary, to the U.S. citizen, then you file I-Form 751 jointly with your spouse. Karina's going to file this form jointly with me, okay? Because she obtained her conditional status because of what I did with the K1 visa and the 2-year green card. Now, however, you may file this form without your spouse if you, 1, ended the marriage in good faith, but your spouse passed away, unfortunately. Number 2, you ended the marriage in good faith, but the marriage was later terminated due to a divorce, unfortunately, or annulment. It happens sometimes, okay? Or number 3, you ended the marriage in good faith, okay, but you have been battered or subject to extreme cruelty by your petitioning American citizen spouse. Not very good, right? Very bad. Or number 4, your conditional resident parent ended the marriage in good faith. This is for the K2s who came in, but you have been battered or subject to extreme cruelty by your parent's U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident, okay? Or the spouse, or by your conditional resident parent. Or number 5, the termination of your status and removal from the United States, okay, would result in an extreme hardship for the foreign national beneficiary. So let's go to the next question before I explain how to fill the form out. When should I file Form I-751? Well, you're going to be filing jointly if you are filing this petition jointly with your American citizen spouse. You must file it during the 90-day period immediately before your conditional residency expires. So look at your green card and minus 90 days. In that 90-day window, you must file this paperwork. Okay. Number two, you're filing with a request that the joint filing requirement be waived or individually filed. Okay, you may file this Form I-751 without your spouse if they pass away, they're deceased, or if you got a divorce, or you and your conditional resident children were battered or subject to extreme cruelty. If you're going to file as a divorcee, you best have some real good evidence to back up the reason why you got divorced. Okay, you may file this petition at any time after you are granted conditional residency, okay, at the status, and before you are removed from the United States. You got it? That's what this form is, I-751. And number three, if you don't file, what happens if you don't file? Well, if this petition is not filed within that 90-day period before your 2-year green card expires, you will automatically lose your permanent resident status, okay? 2 years from the date on which you were granted conditional status. What happens? You don't file the form, 2 years passes, your green card expires, you will be issued a letter of notice for removal proceedings. You're going to be deported from the United States via an immigration judge, unless you can come up with a good excuse why you filed late. If you fail to file on time through no fault of your own, you can file a petition late with a written explanation and request that USCIS excuse the late filing. I'm sorry, I was late. You got to come up with a reason. You were in the hospital or whatever. Failure to file before the expiration date may be excused if you can prove when you filed the petition that the delay was due to extraordinary circumstances beyond your control. All right, you couldn't help it, and that the length of the delay was reasonable. It was a reasonable delay. You were in the hospital. You were laid up with your leg in a cast after that water skiing accident on Lake Tahoe or wherever. Now let's get into this form, ladies and gentlemen. This form is the petition to remove conditions on residency, USCIS Form I-751. Make sure you use the correct edition date. Make sure you download this form from the USCIS website, forms website. Don't go into some of these obscure, off-the-wall, online PDF fillers websites, because they're going to no doubt give you an expired form. Let's get into the process. Okay, page 1, USCIS Form I-751. Use your computer to fill this out. If you do not have a computer, use a black ink pen. Part 1, information about you, the conditional resident. Okay, this is the beneficiary who has the green card. Starting about you, the conditional resident. You're going to put your married last name in here. Like Karina is going to be Ross, Karina, and then her middle name. That's for 1A, 1B, and 1C. And then other names that she has used. This is page 1 of 11. Other names that my beautiful wife Karina has used. Well, her family name, her maiden name will go here. Then her given name is Karina, then her middle name. And then, if this is only going to be applying to, this applies to Karina, okay? If you're female. If you're male, you won't have a maiden name, obviously. Then you're going to put other information, your date of birth, and then you're going to come over to the right-hand side of the form. You're going to put your country of birth. Karina was born in Venezuela. Country of citizenship, she's Venezuelan. Her alien registration number goes in there, number 7, which you can get off of the green card. Her U.S. Social Security number goes in block 8, block 9. Here's her USCIS online account number. If you don't have one, that's fine. Marital status, number 10, she's married. Put an X in the married block. When did we get married? We got married on January 14th, 2024. Place of marriage was Navarre Beach, Florida. If the marriage through which you gain conditional residency has ended, provide the date that it ended. Well, we're still happily married, so there's no reason. So there's going to be an NA in there. And when does Karina's 2-year green card expire? Well, it's going to expire on June 06/26/2026. It's in a couple of months from now. So that's page 1. Now we're going to move on to page 2, part 1, information about you, the conditional resident. This is about Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela. Her mailing address, in care of. Well, she's not in care of anybody. She's married to me, living here. So that's NA for in care of. If you live with grandma or you live with relatives, then you put in care of their name. The street address, well, she lives here in Florida, and the state is FL for Florida, her zip code, etc. Is your physical address different from your mailing address? No. Her mail comes to this address. So what's her physical address? Well, there's no difference. Her physical address is the same as her mailing address. And then it goes on to, this is page 2 of 11, additional information about you. This is the beneficiary. Are you in removal or deportation proceedings? No, she's not. Was a fee paid to anyone other than the attorney in connection with this petition? No, we filled this out. Have you ever been arrested, detained, charged, indicted, filed, fined, or imprisoned, etc.? No, she's never been in trouble with the local sheriff or the law. And then coming over to the right side of page 2 of 11, if you are married, is this a different marriage? No, she's still married to me. No, she didn't marry somebody else. And have you resided at any other address since you became a permanent resident? No, Karina has lived here since the day she arrived in the United States of America from Bogota, Colombia, via Venezuela. All right. And then 23, question 23, page 2, is your spouse or parent spouse currently serving with or employed by the U.S. government? No, I am not employed by the U.S. government. All right. And then biographic information. This is page 2 of 11. This is still about the beneficiary, the foreign national. Ethnicity. Well, Karina's Latina, right? She's Hispanic. And I would say she's black and white, kind of a combination. So we'll put black. She's 5 feet 4 inches tall. She weighs about 130 pounds. Her eye color is brown. Her hair color is brown. That completes page 2 of USCIS Form I-751. Easy, right? Okay, now we're going to move on to page 3 of 11, Form I-751. What's the basis for this petition? Part 3. Part 3, the basis for the petition. Well, my conditional residency is based on my marriage to, or my parents' marriage to a U.S. citizen. So Karina's green card is based upon her marriage to me. I'm a U.S. citizen. So she's going to check box 1A, spouse. Okay? If this was a K2, if you were filing, if this was with a child, okay, then you would put check box 1B, or etc. Or your spouse is deceased. I died and went to heaven, which is 1C. The marriage was terminated through divorce. So you're going to fit in the left side of page 3, you're going to check the box that pertains to you. All right? Then you're going to move on to part 4, information about the U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. Now they're talking about Diego. On page 3, part 4, the information shifts to the U.S. citizen. Relationship. Well, I'm her spouse. Other information. My family name is Ross. Given name is Diego, middle name. My date of birth, my U.S. Social Security number, and if you are a naturalized American citizen, you are a U.S. citizen that's been naturalized, you will put your alien registration number in part 5 on page 3. Make sure you know where that number is. Physical address. Well, the physical address is where, Karina lives. It's going to be the same as on page 1. So our Florida address will go here where I live with Karina. And then part 5 is information about any children. Okay, if you have any children. Is the child living with you? Yes or no? Is the child applying with you? Yes or no? That would be the K2 that comes in, okay, with the K1 when you're now applying for your 10-year green card.
Are you legal to be in this country? Si, senor. Okay, I have my green card.
So we're flipping the page over and we're going on to page 4 of 11, information about your children. Their physical address, child number 1. Child number 2, their family name. Their physical address, child number 3. Child number 4. So on page 4 of 11, you are going to be filling out any information about any children that came with you as K2s. You can include them on this one form, okay, as long as they qualify for the benefit via what I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Now we're moving over to page 5, and it continues on about information about your children in part 5, their physical address, child number 5. If you brought a lot of children over to the United States, immigration's giving you plenty of room in order to include them on this paperwork. Then we're going to move over to the right side of page 5, and it says accommodation for individuals with disabilities and or impairments. Okay, so are you requesting an accommodation because of disabilities or impairments? Yes or no? Are you requiring an accommodation because of your spouse's disabilities, which is the U.S. citizen? I don't have any disabilities. And are you requiring accommodation because of your children's disabilities? Okay. And then you, on the right side of page 5, you will write an explanation in those boxes as to why you are applying under that condition. Very easy. So this is an easy form to fill out because we're now on page 6 of 11, part 7, petitioner's statement and contact information. So the petitioner, this is the foreign national, she's going to check this. He or she will either check, I can read and understand English, or number 1B, the interpreter named in Part 9 has also read to me every question and instruction on this petition, as well as my answer, and answered every question in the language. Well, Karina, her friend from Puerto Rico, translated this document for her, and so we checked the interpreter in Part 9, Karina's friend from Puerto Rico, read this entire form in Spanish. So Spanish went right here. Okay, and I have requested the services of consent. No, that was NA. Petitioner's contact information. The petitioner's contact information is the foreign national, Karina's cell phone number, okay, and her email address. This is on page 6 of 11 on the top right hand side of the form. And then she's going to sign, Karina's going to sign acknowledgement of an appointment at USCIS Application Support Center. So she's going to sign on the right side of page 6 that she understands the purpose of this form and that she's going to have to go to a biometrics appointment. So mostly likely we're going to have to drive to New Orleans from Florida to go to that 10-minute biometrics. And she's going to acknowledge that on page 6 of 11 by her signature. Now moving on to page 7 of 11, petitioner certification. The petitioner, Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, will sign page 7 of 11, and she will date it month, day, year. So it's going to be Karina Ross, month, day, year, right there on page 7. And then on the right hand side of the form, this is the spouse, this individual statement. That's me, the U.S. citizen. I'm checking the box that I can read and understand English. Okay, so I didn't need an interpreter because I read English pretty good, and I'm good at Spanish too. Then at the bottom of page 7, I'm going to put my date, my cell phone number, and my mobile phone number, which is the same as my cell number, and I'm going to put my email address at the bottom of page 7 of 11. Okay, very easy. Now on page 8 of 11, and it's part 8, this is me, the American Citizen Sponsor. I'm going to put my name, print my name in here. I acknowledgement of appointment at USCIS Application Support Center. So you, me, Diego, the U.S. citizen, will also have a biometrics appointment with USCIS. And I will then come over to the right-hand side of page 8 and sign Diego Ross and then date it. And then underneath there, part 9 on page 8, they're asking about an interpreter. Well, I don't need an interpreter, so that's all going to be N-A, N-A, N-A. That's page 8 of 11. Now on page 9 of 11, they're asking about the interpreter certification. Now, Karina had to have this translated into English by her friend from Puerto Rico. So the person put her name in there. I am fluent in English and Spanish. Okay, and then she signed it in part 6A of page 9 and dated it. And then we don't need a preparer. I prepared the form, so that's going to be NA, 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 NA. All that rest of this stuff is going to be non-applicable. You don't want to leave an empty box on any immigration form. So NA goes in all those areas on page 9. Okay, got it? Now we're on page 10, and that just asked for the preparer certification. Well, we didn't need a preparer, so that was NA and NA. Page 10, pretty easy. It's just one question, and it's going to be NA for us. If you had somebody help you fill out this form, a person prepared this form for you, other than the beneficiary or the sponsor, then you're going to put that person's name there on page 10. Now we're on to page 11 of 11, the last page of this Form I-751. Round of applause for everybody out there who made it this far into the video. And page 11 is additional information that you may want to add to your application. You can just fill in the blocks, page number, part number, item number, identify which part of the form you're adding to. Put your full name, family name, this is the beneficiary now, given name, and alien registration number, which will be the beneficiary, the foreign national. Thanks for watching the video, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We hope you enjoyed it. We're here to help you get through this process for as minimal stress as possible. If you want to join as a member, you can join as a member. If you do, the next 4 people that sign up will get a free chocolate bar from Venezuela. This is Venezuelan chocolate, white chocolate, is really tasty. Join as a member. The next 4 people, text me. Once you join as a member, you get my name and address and my phone number from the members only videos. Send me a text that you signed up as a member, and Karina will mail you a free chocolate bar from Venezuela. It's hard to get this chocolate, so it will be quite a treat. Don't forget, I do a live stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central Time, and we will see you at the next live stream. Thanks for watching.
Hasta la vista, baby. Hasta la vista, baby.